Hey, Flo here. Out for an adventure and a little Bible reading today. Actually, I wanted to get out yesterday, but the weather decided to prevent me from getting out. Like, I actually could have done it, but it just looked really risky. There's massive dark thunderstorm clouds, and I think maybe it didn't end up actually raining where I was, so I could have probably made it happen, but it was pretty bad looking. So it's also it's been just stormy lately, so I haven't felt super safe or motivated to get out last couple days. I think this whole week is going to be like that, so it'll be hit or miss. Also keeps me from doing some of the projects I want to do. Pretty much all the projects I want to do are outside. Like, that's not entirely true, but the ones that I need to get done so I can move on to other ones are seemingly all outside, which is annoying. Alright, so I'm going to try something a little different today. It's not going to affect the live stream, but I want to try something with the recordings. I have my smart button that I've historically used for like soccer ball juggling and let's see, what am I not thinking of? Soccer ball juggling and marking like points of interest when I'm hiking, like boulders and views and heart rocks, things like that. Anyway, today I'm going to try something different. I don't actually have to do anything different because it's actually very versatile for different purposes. So when I hit this button, it actually saves a timestamp on my phone to the microsecond. Did I just see a raindrop? What was that? I don't know. Hopefully not. So I can use that information to do various things. What I want to try to do today is see if I can use it to replay the timing for like the Bible reading slide changes. So in theory, what I could do is just use any camera to record these, even just not a smartphone, in other words, or my smartphone, but just on a better setting, like with the actual camera app instead of the live streaming app. Then I could get full quality video of the readings, and then later I could overlay the timing for the slides using OBS or something. But the point is, there's times when I'm out hiking and there's no cell signal or not good enough one for live streaming. And while I generally want to do most, if maybe not all of these, so far I've done all of these readings as live streams, there's certain locations I'd like to get recordings, just because they're so spectacular, but there's like no cell signal in those spots. So I thought if I had this other option, I might be able to record it in advance and then just edit the video with the timing so I can put the scriptures on top, post them on YouTube, Rumble, and Odyssey and stuff. It wouldn't be as interactive, but honestly, I don't get a lot of people watching my live streams. If I did, I probably wouldn't even consider that, because I really do like live streaming more than posting videos. But this particular project where I'm trying to get the whole Bible on there and have different backgrounds, it would give me more options if I could go to places that didn't have a cell signal and record videos and stuff. So we'll think about that anyway. If there's any feedback on that, if somebody says, no, I want to see them all in live stream form, the chances of anyone even being here to hear that sentence or even watch it later in the replay is like 1 in 50,000. So I don't think I have to worry about too much feedback, but I do value the feedback because I'm doing this not just for myself, but for the edification of the church and or to reach, people with the word that are interested, you know, in discovery mode or whatever. All right, so I'm on a very steep slope today, so I couldn't well, I guess I could lower that just a tad, not much, but I can't really get myself in the shot very much because of how much of a slope this is on, but I'll see if I can get just a little bit lower. So I'm at least partially showing, not that it matters, but yeah, I have a lot of different thoughts about this stuff. The cool thing is that it is moving, like sometimes you can't really tell, but part of the reason I want to have me in the shot is at least I'm moving a little bit, and if there's no wind, you can't really tell that these branches are alive. You might just think, oh, it's just a still shot, if you weren't looking carefully. Of course, if you scrub through a video of one of these, you'll see the clouds, you know, very dynamically moving across, but it's so slow that you can't really see it unless you do that scrubbing through the whole video thing. Anyway, I know I'm overthinking this stuff, but I just want it to be as good as it can be. Like, I could get way better quality video, for example, if I used like my other camera or even my cell phone with a different video setting. I don't want to do any like color grading and stuff, but just the camera app is better. Looks, well, it's a little bit artificial coloring, but it's better quality overall. All right. Enough techno babble. I might actually do 2 or 3 recordings from this general location. I scouted out a couple other spots that have a cell signal and somewhat of a view. I decided I'd start here and move my way back that way. So I might do a little bit of walking in between, try to keep the stream going. But we'll see. Just play it by ear. I don't really know how this will pan out. Didn't actually technically do a speed test right here, so I was just going on the assumption that it would be as good as it was there, which is never a guarantee. Okay, so I need to figure out a convention for my smart button pushing for this experiment today. Let me think about this here. It's weird. All right, well, I think what I'll do is a double 2 buttons to just kind of generally start the show, and then I don't know, this is kind of hard to figure out actually. I don't really know. Guess I probably, well, let's see what I use. Yeah, this could be complicated. How am I going to do that? I don't know. Didn't really think this out, but there's a billion different ways to do it, but I'm not sure. I'll probably do it some way today, and later I'll be like, oh, that's not going to work. I should have thought of that, but that's all right. Dear Father, thank you that I can get out today in spite of the storms. Hopefully the water is good for various reasons. In spite of the thunder that might cause fire, pray that you protect us from wildfires that result from lightning. Help me to read clearly today and understand and absorb what I'm reading so that I can become more of the man that you wish me to be. Pray that you would bless anyone that drops by and meet their needs, especially if they cry out to you and seek you as their provision and supply. Thank you for all this in Jesus' name, amen. Oh, I keep forgetting to turn this thing on. This button thing might be a total fail. I don't know. It's kind of complicated. It's hard. Okay, what I need to do, and I thought of this before, I completely forgot about this idea. I need to embed the timing saving to the database into the app itself, which I thought about one time before. I just forgot. There are some more stormy clouds coming in. I'm hoping they'll stay over there on those mountains, but it's definitely dark over there. Generally, the clouds, I think, are moving from right to left. So I don't think they'll come out this way, hopefully, but if I see them getting too close, I can always pack up and try another day, but I think I'll be okay. But yeah, so I need to do that maybe when I get home or sometime this week. I'll try to add that feature to the app. That would be cool. Save timing when buttons are pressed. That would be very nice. We're going to be reading Genesis chapter 35 to 37, Matthew 8, 1 to 13, and Luke chapter 7. I think I might have to skip this button press experiment. It's too hard to push the button and my cell phone at the same time, which is what is required for this experiment to work. So I'm gonna put that on hold, and I'll try that next time that I'm able to get that feature of the app working. I'll try it, but that's too hard. Experiment over. I've discovered it doesn't work, or it's too difficult. In theory, it would work. It's just I can't press the button at the same time. I mean, I could, but I can't. I could, but I can't. Plus, it'll make a little click noise, which is kind of dumb. Genesis chapter 35. Then God said to Jacob, "Arise, go up to Bethel, and settle there. Build an altar there to the God who appeared to you when you fled from your brother Esau." So Jacob told his household and all who were with him, "Get rid of the foreign gods that are among you, purify yourselves, and change your garments. Then let us arise and go to Bethel. I will build an altar there to God, who answered me in my day of distress. He has been with me wherever I have gone." So they gave Jacob all their foreign gods and all their earrings, and Jacob buried them under the oak near Shechem. As they set out, a terror from God fell over the surrounding cities, so that they did not pursue Jacob's sons. So Jacob and everyone with him arrived in Luz, that is Bethel, in the land of Canaan. There Jacob built an altar, and he called that place El Bethel, because it was there that God had revealed himself to Jacob as he fled from his brother. Now Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died and was buried under the oak below Bethel. So Jacob named it Elon Bakuth. After Jacob had returned from Padan Aram, God appeared to him again and blessed him. And God said to him, "Though your name is Jacob, you will no longer be called Jacob. Instead, your name will be Israel." So God named him Israel. And God told him, "I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation, even a company of nations, shall come from you, and kings shall descend from you. The land that I gave to Abraham and Isaac I will give to you, and I will give this land to your descendants after you." Then God went up from the place where he had spoken with him. So Jacob set up a pillar in the place where God had spoken with him, a stone marker, and he poured out a drink offering on it and anointed it with oil. Jacob called the place where God had spoken with him Bethel. Later they set out from Bethel, and while they were still some distance from Ephrath, Rachel began to give birth, and her labor was difficult. During her severe labor, the midwife said to her, "Do not be afraid, for you are having another son." And with her last breath, for she was dying, she named him Oni, but his father called him Benjamin. So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. Jacob set up a pillar on her grave. It marks Rachel's tomb to this day. Israel again set out and pitched his tent beyond the Tower of Eder. While Israel was living in that region, Reuben went in and slept with his father's concubine, Bilhah, and Israel heard about it. Jacob had 12 sons. The sons of Leah were Reuben, the firstborn of Jacob, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel were Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Rachel's maidservant Bilhah were Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Leah's maidservant Zilpah were Gad and Asher. These are the sons of Jacob, who were born to him in Padan Aram. Jacob returned to his father Isaac at Mamre, near Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac had stayed. And Isaac lived 180 years. Then he breathed his last and died and was gathered to his people, old and full of years. And his sons Esau and Jacob buried him. Genesis chapter 36. This is the account of Esau, that is, Edom. Esau took his wives from the daughters of Canaan, Adah, daughter of Elon the Hittite, Aholibamah, daughter of Anah, and granddaughter of Zibeon the Hivite, and Basemath, daughter of Ishmael and sister of Nebaioth. And Adah bore Eliphaz to Esau. Basemath gave birth to Reuel, and Aholibamah gave birth to Jeush, Jelam, and Korah. These were the sons of Esau who were born to him in the land of Canaan. Later Esau took his wives and sons and daughters and all the people of his household, along with his livestock, all his other animals, and all the property he had acquired in Canaan, and he moved to a land far away from his brother Jacob. For their possessions were too great for them to dwell together. The land where they stayed could not support them because of their livestock. So Esau, that is, Edom, settled in the area of Mount Seir. This is the account of Esau, the father of the Edomites, in the area of Mount Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, son of Esau's wife Adah, and Reuel, son of Esau's wife Basemath. The sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. Additionally, Timnah, a concubine of Esau's son Eliphaz, gave birth to Amalek. These are the grandsons of Esau's wife Adah. These are the sons of Reuel: Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. They are the grandsons of Esau's wife Basemath. These are the sons of Esau's wife Aholibamah, daughter of Anah and granddaughter of Zibeon, whom she bore to Esau: Jeush, Jelam, and Korah. These are the chiefs among the sons of Esau. The sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn of Esau: chiefs Teman, Omar, Zepho, Kenaz, Korah, Gatam, and Amalek. They are the chiefs of Eliphaz in the land of Edom, and they are the grandsons of Adah. These are the sons of Esau's son Reuel: chiefs Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. They are the chiefs descended from Reuel in the land of Edom, and they are the grandsons of Esau's wife Basemath. These are the sons of Esau's wife Aholibamah: chiefs Jeush, Jelam, and Korah. They are the chiefs descended from Esau's wife Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah. All these are the sons of Esau, that is, Edom, and they were their chiefs. These are the sons of Seir the Horite, who were living in the land: Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anah, Dishon, Ezer, and Dishan. They are the chiefs of the Horites, the descendants of Seir, in the land of Edom. The sons of Lotan were Hori and Heman. Timnah was Lotan's sister. These are the sons of Shobal: Elvan, Manahath, Ebal, Shepho, and Onam. These are the sons of Zibeon: Aiah and Anah. This is the Anah who found the hot springs in the wilderness as he was pasturing the donkeys of his father Zibeon. These are the children of Anah: Dishon and Aholibamah, daughter of Anah. These are the sons of Dishon: Hemdan, Eshban, Ithran, and Cheran. These are the sons of Ezer: Bilhan, Zavan, and Akan. These are the sons of Dishan: Uz and Aran. These are the chiefs of the Horites: chiefs Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anah, Dishan, Ezer, and Dishan. They are the chiefs of the Horites according to their divisions in the land of Seir. These are the kings who reigned in the land of Edom before any king reigned over the Israelites. Bela, son of Beor, reigned in Edom. The name of his city was Dinhaba. When Bela died, Jobab, son of Zerah from Basra, reigned in his place. When Jobab died, Husham from the land of the Temanites reigned in his place. When Husham died, Hadad, son of Bedad, who defeated Midian in the country of Moab, reigned in his place, and the name of his city was Avith. Then Hadad died. When Hadad died, Samlah from Masrekah reigned in his place. When Samlah died, Shaul from Rehoboth on the Euphrates reigned in his place. When Shaul died, Baal-Hanan, son of Akbor, reigned in his place. When Baal-Hanan, son of Akbor, died, Hadad reigned in his place. His city was named Pau, and his wife's name was Mehetabel, daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mezahab. These are the names of Esau's chiefs according to their families and regions, by their names: chiefs Timnah, Alva, Jetheth, Aholibama, Elah, Pinon, Kenaz, Timan, Mibzar, Magdiel, and Eram. These were the chiefs of Edom according to their settlements in the land they possessed. Esau was the father of the Edomites. Oh, these names, I always struggle with them. I have no idea how to pronounce most of them. Given my best guess. Oh, that's a unique bird. I can't tell what that is. That is weird. Hello, bird. Hopefully you don't poop on me. That is a very strange looking bird. Not seen those commonly. Genesis chapter 37. Now Jacob lived in the land where his father had resided, the land of Canaan. This is the account of Jacob. When Joseph was 17 years old, he was tending the flock with his brothers, the sons of his father's wives Bilhah and Zilpah, and he brought their father a bad report about them. Now Israel loved Joseph more than his other sons, because Joseph had been born to him in his whole old age. So he made him a robe of many colors. When Joseph's brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him. Then Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him even more. He said to them, "Listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain in the field, and suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright, while your sheaves gathered around and bowed down to mine." "Do you intend to reign over us?" his brothers asked. "Will you actually rule us?" So they hated him even more because of his dream and his statements. Then Joseph had another dream and told it to his brothers. "Look," he said, "I had another dream, and this time the sun and moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me." He told his father and brothers, but his father rebuked him and said, "What is this dream that you have had? Will your mother and brothers and I actually come and bow down to the ground before you?" And his brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept in mind what he had said. Sometime later, Joseph's brothers had gone to pasture their father's flocks near Shechem. Israel said to him, "Are not your brothers pasturing the flocks at Shechem? Get ready, I am sending you to them." "I am ready," Joseph replied. Then Israel told him, "Go now and see how your brothers and the flocks are faring, and bring word back to me." So he sent him off from the valley of Hebron. And when Joseph arrived in Shechem, a man found him wandering in the field and asked, "What are you looking for?" "I am looking for my brothers," Joseph replied. "Can you please tell me where they are pasturing their flocks?" "They have moved on from here," the man answered. "I heard them say, 'Let us go to Dothan.'" So Joseph set out Whew. I got just a huge bee in my face. I think it was I don't know what that was actually. Oh, well, that'll wake you up. Not that I was sleeping, but I was kind of trying to concentrate on my reading. I might have to do this one over. I just landed on my face and then on my shoulder. I was like, what in the world are you thinking? Maybe I look like a flower. It was huge though, like it was bigger than, definitely not a bee, it was some kind of wasp or something weird. Like it didn't even seem like a yellow jacket, it seemed bigger than that. I don't know what it was. All right, let's do Genesis 37 all over again. Hopefully that doesn't keep happening. Glad it didn't sting me though. It probably is the type that could have. Didn't get a good look at it. I guess it could have been a beetle. It was definitely large and noisy. Genesis chapter 37. Now Jacob lived in the land where his father had resided, the land of Canaan. This is the account of Jacob. When Joseph was 17 years old, he was tending the flock with his brothers, the sons of his father's wives Bilhah and Zilpah, and he brought their father a bad report about them. Now Israel loved Joseph more than his other sons, because Joseph had been born to him in his old age. So he made him a robe of many colors. When Joseph's brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him. Then Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him even more. He said to them, "Listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain in the field, and suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright, while your sheaves gathered around and bowed down to mine." "Do you intend to reign over us?" his brothers asked. "Will you actually rule us?" So they hated him even more because of his dream and his statements. Then Joseph had another dream and told it to his brothers. "Look," he said, "I had another dream, and this time the sun and moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me." He told his father and brothers, but his father rebuked him and said, "What is this dream you have had? Will your mother and brothers and I actually come and bow down to the ground before you?" And his brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept in mind what he had said. Some time later, Joseph's brothers had gone to pasture their father's flocks near Shechem. Israel said to him, "Are not your brothers pasturing the flocks at Shechem? Get ready, I am sending you to them." "I am ready," Joseph replied. Then Israel told him, "Go now and see how your brothers and the flocks are faring, and bring word back to me." So he sent him off from the valley of Hebron. And when Joseph arrived in Shechem, a man found him wandering in the field and asked, "What are you looking for?" "I am looking for my brothers," Joseph replied. "Can you please tell me where they are pasturing their flocks?" "They have moved on from here," the man answered. "I heard them say, 'Let us go to Dothan.'" So Joseph set out after his brothers and found them at Dothan. Now Joseph's brothers saw him in the distance, and before he arrived, they plotted to kill him. "Here comes that dreamer," they said to one another. "Come now, let us kill him and throw him into one of the pits. We can say that a vicious animal has devoured him. Then we shall see what becomes of his dreams." When Reuben heard this, he tried to rescue Joseph from their hands. "Let us not take his life," he said. "Do not shed his blood. Throw him into this pit in the wilderness, but do not lay a hand on him." Reuben said this so that he could rescue Joseph from their hands and return him to his father. So when Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his robe, the robe of many colors he was wearing, and they took him and threw him into the pit. Now the pit was empty with no water in it. As they sat down to eat a meal, they looked up and saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. Their camels were carrying spices, balm, and myrrh on their way down to Egypt. Then Judah said to his brothers, "What profit will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites and not lay a hand on him, for he is our brother, our own flesh." And they agreed. So when the Midianite traders passed by, his brothers pulled Joseph out of the pit and sold him for 20 shekels of silver to the Ishmaelites who took him to Egypt. When Reuben returned to the pit and saw that Joseph was not there, he tore his clothes, returned to his brothers, and said, "The boy is gone. What am I going to do?" Then they took Joseph's robe, slaughtered a young goat, and dipped the robe in its blood. They sent the robe of many colors to their father and said, "We found this. Examine it to see whether it is your son's robe or not." His father recognized it and said, "It is my son's robe. A vicious animal has devoured him. Joseph has surely been torn to pieces." Then Jacob tore his clothes, put sackcloth around his waist, and mourned for his son many days. All his sons and daughters tried to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. "No," he said, "I will go down to Sheol mourning for my son." So his father wept for him. Meanwhile, the Midianites sold Joseph in Egypt to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and captain of the guard. Okay, there's an actual beetle there. That's probably what it was. Might have even been that same one. They probably like these little berry things, and it just accidentally landed on me instead or something. It's kind of a yellow colored beetle, so that's probably why I thought it was a bee. That's my guess. I don't know. All right, we got a couple New Testament chapters or partial chapters. This is kind of a longer reading. The last chapter is kind of long. I feel like that guy is just going to suddenly jump on me again. I hope it stays where it's at. Yeah, there's actually, I see they're two very different beetles. Well, unless they're different stages of development, but look quite different. I feel like there's a huge chance that thing's gonna fly on my face again. Oh well, we'll deal with it if it happens. Matthew chapter 8. When Jesus came down from the mountain, large crowds followed him. Suddenly a leper came and knelt before him, saying, "Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean." Jesus reached out his hand and touched the man. "I am willing," he said, "be clean." And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. Then Jesus instructed him, "See that you don't tell anyone, but go, show yourself to the priest, and offer the gift prescribed by Moses as a testimony to them." When Jesus had entered Capernaum, the centurion came and pleaded with him, "Lord, my servant lies at home, paralyzed and in terrible agony." "I will go and heal him," Jesus replied. The centurion answered, "Lord, I am not worthy to have you come under my roof, but just say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I myself am a man under authority, with soldiers under me. I tell one to go, and he goes, and another to come, and he comes. I tell my servant to do something, and he does it." When Jesus heard this, he marveled and said to those following him, "Truly, I tell you, I have not found anyone in Israel with such great faith. I say to you that many will come from the east and the west to share the banquet with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the sons of the kingdom will be thrown into the outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth." Then Jesus said to the centurion, "Go, as you have believed, so will it be done for you." And his servant was healed at that very hour. There's lots of wildlife making noises today. I don't know what that weird, loud noise is. It kind of made me jump while I was reading. I wasn't expecting it. It's probably a crow, but it sounds like really close. I don't know where it's at. Oh, I gotta get up and stretch too. My back hurts a bit. Been carrying some heavy stuff lately. I'm assuming that might be why, but I don't know. My back just is terrible. It's been worse lately. Been doing that work on the septic tank, and I'm sure that's not helping. But also just sitting around, man. It's bad. Not sure I'll have time to do multiple readings at the pace I'm going today. Kind of slow, and this is a pretty long reading. Oh, there's that sound again. It's coming from over there somewhere. Anytime I hear a weird sound that I don't really know what it is, I tend to think it's probably a crow. Crows are capable of making a lot of different sounds. And that really unique bird is still here. It's very cool. It almost flies like a bat, just like weird flappy patterns, and it has looks like it has black tips on its wings maybe, and little white stripes on either side about midway through. I'm not really a bird watcher, nor do I know that many bird species, but I haven't seen one quite like that I can remember. I think it's the one making that kind of shrill noise, like ee kind of a noise. I'm not sure though. All right, one more chapter, but it's a long one. kind of feel like standing, to be honest, but I think I'll just sit back down and try to make it through. Oh, just got another goofy beetle on my face. It didn't quite go on my face that time, landed on my hat, but it's going to be hard to get through this long chapter without something landing on me and messing me up. Might be here all day, the rest of the day. Luke chapter 7. When Jesus had concluded his discourse in the hearing of the people, he went to Capernaum. There a highly valued servant Either this is a tongue twister, or I just can't read today. I'm just having a hard time. Start over. Luke chapter 7. When Jesus had concluded his discourse in the hearing of the people, he went to Capernaum. There a highly valued servant of a centurion was sick and about to die. When the centurion heard about Jesus, he sent some Jewish elders to ask him to come and heal his servant. They came to Jesus and pleaded with him earnestly, "This man is worthy to have you grant this, for he loves our nation and has built our synagogue." So Jesus went with them. But when he was not far from the house, the centurion sent friends with the message, "Lord, do not trouble yourself, for I am not worthy to have you come under my roof. That is why I did not consider myself worthy to come to you, but just say the word and my servant will be healed. For I myself am a man under authority with soldiers under me. I tell one to go, and he goes, and another to come, and he comes. I tell my servant to do something, and he does it." When Jesus heard this, he marveled at the centurion. Turning to the crowd following him, he said, "I tell you, not even in Israel have I found such great faith." And when the messengers returned to the house, they found the servant in good health. Soon afterward, Jesus went to a town called Nain. His disciples went with him, accompanied by a large crowd. As he approached the town gate, he saw a dead man being carried out, the only son of his mother, and she was a widow, and a large crowd from the town was with her. When the Lord saw her, he had compassion on her and said, "Do not weep." Then he went up and touched the coffin, and those carrying it stood still. "Young man," he said, "I tell you, get up." And the dead man sat up and began to speak. Then Jesus gave him back to his mother. A sense of awe swept over all of them, and they glorified God. "A great prophet has appeared among us," they said. "God has visited his people." And the news about Jesus spread throughout Judea and all the surrounding region. Then John's disciples informed him about all these things. So John called 2 of his disciples and sent them to ask the Lord, "Are you the one who was to come, or should we look for someone else?" When the men came to Jesus, they said, "John the Baptist sent us to ask, 'Are you the one who was to come, or should we look for someone else?'" At that very hour, Jesus healed many people of their diseases, afflictions, and evil spirits, and he gave sight to many who were blind. So he replied, "Go back and report to John what you have seen and heard. The blind receive sight, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the good news is preached to the poor. Blessed is the one who does not fall away on account of me." After John's messengers had left, Jesus began to speak to the crowds about John. "What did you go out into the wilderness to see? A reed swaying in the wind? Otherwise, what did you go out to see? A man dressed in fine clothes? Look, those who wear elegant clothing and live in luxury are found in palaces. What then did you go out to see? A prophet? Yes, I tell you, and more than a prophet. This is the one about whom it is written, 'Behold, I will send my messenger ahead of you, who will prepare your way before you.' I tell you, among those born of women there is no one greater than John. Yet even the least in the kingdom of God is greater than he." All the people who heard this, even the tax collectors, acknowledged God's justice, for they had received the baptism of John. But the Pharisees and experts in the law rejected God's purpose for themselves, because they had not been baptized by John. To what then can I compare the men of this generation? What are they like? They are like children sitting in the marketplace and calling out to one another, "We played the flute for you, and you did not dance. We sang a dirge, and you did not weep. For John the Baptist came neither eating bread nor drinking wine, and you say, 'He has a demon.' The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and you say, 'Look at this glutton and drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners.' But wisdom is vindicated by all her children." Then one of the Pharisees invited Jesus to eat with him, and he entered the Pharisee's house and reclined at the table. When a sinful woman from that town learned that Jesus was dining there, she brought an alabaster jar of perfume. As she stood behind him at his feet weeping, she began to wet his feet with her tears and wipe them with her hair. Then she kissed his feet and anointed them with the perfume. When the Pharisee who had invited Jesus saw this, he said to himself, "If this man were a prophet, he would know who this is and what kind of woman is touching him, for she is a sinner." But Jesus answered him, "Simon, I have something to tell you." "Tell me, teacher," he said. "Two men were debtors to a certain moneylender. One owed him 500 denarii, and the other 50. When they were unable to repay him, he forgave them both. Which one then will love him more?" "I suppose the one who was forgiven more," Simon replied. "You have judged correctly," Jesus said. And turning toward the woman, he said to Simon, "Do you see this woman? When I entered your house, you did not give me water for my feet, but she wet my feet with her tears and wiped them with her hair. You did not greet me with a kiss, but she has not stopped kissing my feet since I arrived. You did not anoint my head with oil, but she has anointed my feet with perfume. Therefore I tell you, because her many sins have been forgiven, she has loved much. But he who has been forgiven little loves little." Then Jesus said to her, "Your sins are forgiven." But those at the table began to say to themselves, "Who is this who even forgives sins?" And Jesus told the woman, "Your faith has saved you. Go in peace." All right, we made it. Phew, that took a long time. All these Beatles crazy stuff going on. Looks like the next reading's a little bit more straightforward. Got 4 chapters. I'm gonna pack up though. If I decide to read more, it will be in a different spot. Oh, plus just getting up and moving around a little bit will help my back. I might not. Maybe I shouldn't pack everything up the way I normally do, though, if I'm just going to have to take it back out again. It'd be kind of annoying, but I can probably carry my tripod and chair as they are without packing them up. I have to pack a few things up, though. And I gotta go into gimbal mode, so it'll be a little bit of stuff to do. Actually, I haven't used my gimbal in a while. I've been doing the technique of finding a spot that has a signal and just going there and starting the stream at the location, and rather than trying to like show hiking to the spot, because I don't know, there's just so many times when the signal is so bad that I can't really do it that way. This spot I could have done a little bit of hiking prior to getting here on stream, because it's this whole, I think pretty much the whole top of this mountain, or whatever you want to call it, has a fairly steady signal. So you can kind of see what I have to go through to get into gimbal mode. I have this short selfie stick. It can actually go a little bit taller, but there's no reason to do it that way, really. Short is good. And then I have this very cheap plastic tripod-ish thing that allows me to set my gimbal up. But I have to find a really flat spot, and these are not very strong. I'd like to get maybe a metal kind or something. Anyway, but this is my gimbal setup. And the reason I do that, I could just use the gimbal itself, but this sort of counterbalances it, so I can hold it like up here, and then the bottom acts like a counterweight. So, and then I hold it kind of close like this. So it's actually not that burdensome to carry. Oops. Just noticed this was stuck to my magnet. I'm lucky that it didn't fall off. Okay, I need a special cord that should be in here. So I have this special USB-C to USB-C charging cable that's really short, and it can, one of the cool features about a good gimbal, if it doesn't have this feature, I would get one that does. You can plug this into the gimbal itself, and then this side goes into your phone, and then you can charge your phone while it's connected to the gimbal, which is nice. You can also charge the gimbal itself right here, so I can keep both going with my battery bank. Ever since I started doing it that way, I don't tend to run out of battery so far. It hasn't been an issue. Whereas in the past, I ran out of battery. weird symbol on the screen. I have no idea what that means. Hope I didn't just mess it up. What would be really cool is if I had some kind of attachment for my tripod that was also a gimbal or something. I wouldn't have to go through quite as much transition time. Oops. There we go. This is going to be an experiment trying to carry my gimbal and chair around while carry my tripod and gimbal around without packing them up. Not sure this will work, but I'll try. Oh man. Hey Balthier. Beautiful view. Yeah, it's not too bad, not too shabby. Some storm clouds that passed by earlier. I don't know. This one over here could actually get over me. Hopefully not, but thus far, I think it's supposed to be over for the evening, but we'll see. All right, let's see if I can get chat to show up while I'm walking. This will be a short walk because I already have a place in mind. Okay, looks like it's working. The only weird thing is it pulls in old messages, which it's actually a setting. I could change that setting, but I don't know. It sort of helps me figure out if things are working properly too. This is going to be a significant challenge to carry all this stuff without packing up because I have a lot of stuff to carry, just put it that way. More than maybe I possibly can. I don't know if Soul Blaze changed their... This is not related to anything that's happening now, but it made me think of it. I think Soul Blaze changed the way they do stream keys because the last few streams weren't working, and I found out later that the stream key had changed for some reason. Kind of weird. I didn't change it, I don't think. I might have accidentally done something weird, though. It's possible. Okay. A serious mess on my hands today. This is kind of, I don't like doing it this way. Trying to carry all this stuff without packing up, but I don't know, it's kind of a trade-off. No way is better than the other. They both suck. Packing up all the stuff and then unpacking it moments later is really dumb, but I have way too much stuff to carry. I don't even think it might not be possible, but we'll try. Got my chair, the bag for my chair, I've got a tripod, got a hiking pole. This is totally ridiculous, but I got it all in one hand. I'll just have to try to make it over to the next spot, which isn't very far away, so I think I can make this work, but it sucks. Alright, one last look at that view over there. That cloud it's almost over me, but it doesn't, I can't tell if it's raining or not, or if it's just a dark cloud. If it rains, then I'll have to end the stream, but hopefully it's just dark and not threatening. I guess I'm gonna go a little bit further than I originally was thinking, because I had 3 places in mind. I should have done the first one first. Actually did the third one first. Now I'm gonna circle back to the first one. And then maybe go back to the middle second one. So I'm doing a little bit of the zigzag extra walking, but it's alright. So I don't know if I'll even have time to do 3 readings anyway, but if I do, the last one I'm going to do probably right there, a little bit past those trees, because then I can see the sun as it's going down. But then there's this other spot that I found over here that I'll try out. It seemed like a nice spot. That cloud is a little bit ominous. I'm not sure what to think about it. Haven't heard any thunder in a while though, so hopefully it's not that bad. I forgot how far I had to go to get to the other spot. It kind of sucks. Arm is getting very tired carrying 6,000 things. Guess I could have left something behind and made a couple trips or something like that. Let's see. I wasn't actually at this spot earlier, but I could stop here too, but I think I'll just stick with plan A. Go back to a spot that I found earlier. I think I'm not dreaming. I think it was over here, and when I actually haven't tested the speed up here that much, but when I tested the speed down here at this first spot, it was totally good signal over here. They're dying right now for some stupid reason. What? Thanks. Famous last words. I thought that, when I was first here earlier, the signal was amazing, but right now it's dubious at best. It's crazy how that stuff can change so drastically. I don't get it. Well, I don't know. Some of those platforms are gonna die because once they die, they never come back. I don't know which ones will keep going, but that's so annoying. I hate it when it does that. That makes no sense. I did a test earlier right here. It was 200 megabits down and 14 up, which is the best ever. You never get that kind of signal. And now it's just all over the place. It's so annoying. Can't stand it. The League of the Keepers of the Briar. That's a long name. Yeah, but I don't know, the bitrate right here is not doing well. I don't understand why. It's really irritating because I wanted to do it here because I like the view is kind of nice and there's a good flat spot where I can sit. Actually, maybe as I walk, if I go up here just a few steps, this is actually where the camera will be. Seems to be stabilizing a little bit as I walk back this way, but it's not amazing. I don't know. I don't know what to think about this. The thing is, if it's going to be crappy, it's almost better not to do it at all because then I'll have to end up redoing this reading again, which is it's kind of annoying. I don't necessarily mind reading the Bible more than once. That's not the issue. It's more just there's no real reason to do it if I don't have to. That cloud is very ominous. It's like really big and I can't tell if it's coming this way. That was not on the forecast. Actually, none of this was. None of these clouds were predicted, like none of these storms. Like yesterday it said, oh, it's totally storm clouds. They're really bad at predicting this stuff. Let's see, maybe, was it here? Maybe, I don't know, this is a decent spot too. I don't know. Signal is seemingly better here, so maybe I'll do it over here. I don't know. Actually, it's all over the place. It's just like bouncing up and down like a Tigger. So I'll just have to pick a spot and hope for the best. It's crazy how just a few steps you can get a completely different result. It amuses me every time. The other thing is I'm actually kind of on a ATV road, so what would be hilarious and would suck is if somebody like rode up here right as I'm trying to do this and just like blasted through the landscape with a huge puff of smoke and all sorts of issues. But I can't really predict that, so if that happens, it'll just be an entertaining moment, I guess. Okay, let's see. I mean, one thing I actually can do. Oops. My gimbal has enough battery, which it's like I don't usually gimbal itself on the tripod because it has a 1/4 inch 20 on the bottom. I'm gonna try that. That's probably what I should experiment more with that, because if I can get that to work, or if the gimbal lasts long enough with its own charge, then that's actually a better way to go. It's a lot easier to transition, that's for sure. So right now I have my gimbal on the tripod itself, which is handy, and it's not very likely that I would use the whole battery, because if like the gimbal lost its charge as it's on there, it would just turn off and destabilize and stuff. All right, we're gonna try this. no guarantee success at all. I gotta try. I just always worried that my battery. It's always nice to find those nice stuff on that massive massive dirt on the bottom of all my gear from that last spot. The cool thing about this gimbal / tripod setup too is that it automatically gets a level horizon, so I don't have to try to work with that on the tripod, which is a benefit. Let's see. Let's try wide angle here too. Mainly because the sky might look interesting. I don't want to chop that off. Oh, stupid. That was my fault. I just pushed the button, I think. Idiotic. Hey, vampire frog. Alright, let's try something like that. Oh, shoot. Oh, I hate that. I need a way to be able to change where the position of the text is. I don't have a way. Oh, let's see. I don't remember which side it was on. I'll have to do an experiment. I think what I'm going to do is change my Bible reading app display mode so it will be full screen, and then within that I can like have it toggle back and forth with a control instead of basically right now I have to in IRL Pro tell it which alignment of the screen on the right or left, and I can't do that while I'm live streaming. The settings aren't accessible until you stop your stream, which sucks. So in this case, I would like the scripture to be on the right hand side, but I don't remember what side I have it on currently, so it might not work. Might be lucky, but I'm kind of guessing it's on the wrong side. That's just my luck, the way things go usually. Yeah, see? I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I prefer it to be on the right hand side. So I need a way to like switch that while I'm already live, which I can't do with IRL Pro. That's fine. That just means it'll cover me up, which I don't think anybody cares about that. It's just not the best layout. It would look better on the other side. Once again, the signal here is kind of sucky. It's annoying. Test a theory. What if I get this up just a little bit higher? Is that going to help at all? Probably not. Oh, wow. Here. Whoa, bad. Mega bad. Senseless. don't understand why. Yeah, I probably should just give up on this spot because it's a cool spot, but the speed test that I did earlier is not accurate now. It's changed. Something's changed. So I should probably head back up to where it was working better. That's annoying. Just means I have to like spend 6 hours to move again. But the frustration of having a stream that I have to redo is not worth it. If I know it's going to happen, I may as well avoid it. What I can do though is put a few of these things away so I'm not carrying as much junk. Now I can just carry this. I can probably do something like that even if I want to. It's not ideal, but it's maybe a little bit easier to carry that way. And I just need to carry the tripod. That's a lot better. That sucks. It's really weird because this spot was amazing. Had the best signal I've ever seen in all of my live streaming experience, 6 years. The best signal I've ever seen. And all of a sudden it's like not good. I don't really get it, but such is the way live streaming goes, IRL. Okay, so I'm gonna head back up this way and we'll just do the other spot that I'd already found. And hopefully it is good. My actual original plan for the day of coming out, when I finally decided I could probably avoid the storms, was to I was gonna go to 3 entirely separate places, or to whatever I had time for, but then when I realized, yeah, it's more efficient to stay in one place and look for more than one spot in the same location. That was my change in plans. That's a nice spot with the sun, but not a very good clear view. I'm gonna keep going. What's happening with my tripod? It seems to be rotating on its own. Oh, I see. because I had it not tightened. One thing that's kind of cool about carrying my tripod like this is I can actually hold it up like, that's probably like 8 feet up there. Definitely way taller than any person, so I could get some unique angles that way, but it's really heavy. It's not realistic to keep it this way for long. Plus it would get caught on everything. Okay, here's my spot, I think. Let's see if the signal's any better here. Good news is that in this particular spot it actually makes sense to have the text on the left hand side. Got a lot of birds out. Alright, I'm assuming you must be testing something. I wouldn't think DLive would need testing at this point, but you never know. Alright, guess I'm ready to go. Yeah, I'll probably only do 2 readings up here today because of how stupid the cell signal unreliability has been. Really thought it would be excellent, and up right here it seems good like I would expect, but back there in that spot number 1 or the whatever, it was not good. Let's see. Might get a slightly better angle with the camera over here. I don't really care if I'm in the frame that much, but I want to be somewhat visible. There's not really much advantage offered by keeping the stream going between the readings, because usually it's just this kind of frustrating technology stuff that I have to deal with. It's not really great content or anything like that. But I do like to kind of show just where I'm at a little bit and moving around, just so it's more like a adventure of sorts. Alright, I guess that'll work. Remember last time I've live streamed here before, not with the Bible reading, but just a long time ago, a couple years ago probably. Last time I was here, there was so many ants that it was annoying. They're like climbing all over me and stuff. A little bit of ants is fine, I'm used to that, but it was kind of absurd. There's like 3 different kinds, like tiny, almost microscopic ones that were just going nuts, and then like a normal size, and then like the carpenter ants, all 3 of them were just all over this area. But I don't see any abnormal number today, so I think we're fine until they show up. I see a few, but not like a ridiculous number. Yeah, definitely that. I can't make the noise, but whatever, just kind of a granular scree, cry, whatever. That's that weird looking bird that looks kind of like a bat. It's probably a very common bird. Could be a sparrow or something crazy simple like that, but I've never seen something that looks quite like that I can remember. All right, so the second reading we're going to do is Genesis chapters 38 to 40 and Matthew chapter 11. Yeah, and that cloud is I'm just on the edge of it, but it could, if it is raining, if it's a rain cloud, I might get some rain as it passes by, because I'm kind of almost underneath it, but I think the worst of it is still over there. But anyway, we'll try to do as much of the reading as I can. If I have to cut it short, that's fine. Genesis chapter 38. About that time, Judah left his brothers and settled near a man named Hira, an Adulamite. There Judah saw the daughter of a Canaanite man named Shua, and he took her as a wife and slept with her. So she conceived and gave birth to a son, and Judah named him Again she conceived and gave birth to a son, and she named him Onan. Then she gave birth to another son, and named him Shelah. It was at Chezib that she gave birth to him. Now Judah acquired a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, so the Lord put him to death. Then Judah said to Onan, "Sleep with your brother's wife, perform your duty as her brother-in-law, and raise up offspring for your brother." But Onan knew that the offspring would not belong to him, so whenever he would sleep with his brother's wife, he would spill his seed on the ground so that he would not produce offspring for his brother. What he did was wicked in the sight of the Lord, so he put Onan to death as well. Then Judah said to his daughter-in-law, Tamar, "Live as a widow in your father's house until my son Shelah grows up," for he thought, "He may die too, like his brothers." So Tamar went to live in her father's house. After a long time, Judah's wife, the daughter of Shua, died. When Judah had finished mourning, he and his friend Hira the Adulamite went up to his sheep shearers at Timnah. When Tamar was told, "Your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear his sheep," she removed her widow's garments, covered her face with a veil to disguise herself, and sat at the entrance to Enaim, which is on the way to Timnah, for she saw that although Shelah had grown up, she had not been given to him as a wife. When Judah saw her, he thought she was a prostitute because she had covered her face. Not realizing that she was his daughter-in-law, he went over to her and said, "Come now, let me sleep with you. What will you give me for sleeping with you?" she inquired. "I will send you a young goat from my flock," Judah answered. But she replied, "Only if you leave me something as a pledge until you send it." "What pledge should I give you?" he asked. She answered, "Your wheel and your cord and the staff in your hand." So he gave them to her and slept with her, and she became pregnant by him. Then Tamar got up and departed, and she removed her veil and put on her widow's garments again. Now when Judah sent his friend Hira the Adulamite with the young goat to collect the items he had left with the woman, he could not find her. He asked the men of that place, "Where is the shrine prostitute who was beside the road at Enaim?" "No shrine prostitute has been here," they answered. So Hira returned to Judah and said, "I could not find her, and furthermore the men of that place said, 'No shrine prostitute has been here.'" "Let her keep the items," Judah replied, "otherwise we will become a laughingstock. After all, I did send her this young goat, but you could not find her." About 3 months later, Judah was told, "Your daughter-in-law, Tamar, has prostituted herself, and now she is pregnant." "Bring her out," Judah replied. "Let her be burned to death." As she was being brought out, Tamar sent a message to her father-in-law, "I am pregnant by the man to whom these items belong." And she added, "Please examine them. Whose seal and cord and staff are these?" Judah recognized the items and said, "She is more righteous than I, since I did not give her to my son Shelah." And he did not have relations with her again. When the time came for Tamar to give birth, there were twins in her womb. And as she was giving birth, one of them put out his hand. So the midwife took a scarlet thread and tied it around his wrist. "This one came out first," she announced. But when he pulled his hand back and his brother came out, she said, "You have broken out first." So he was named Perez. Then his brother came out with the scarlet thread around his wrist, and he was named Zerah. Yeah, I'm definitely contending with insects here. The ants are one thing, but there's like these stupid gnats that keep flying around my face. It's way more annoying. I'm kind of wondering, like, if each ant that I flick off learns something from the experience. Is like, oh, maybe I shouldn't climb that guy or those things, whatever it sees. Or if it just like comes back and I'm flicking the same ant off like 500 times. It's hard to tell because they all look the same. Hopefully they learn and it's just a different one each time. Genesis chapter 39. Meanwhile, Joseph had been taken down to Egypt, where an Egyptian named Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and captain of the guard, bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him there. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he became a successful man, serving in the household of his Egyptian master. When his master saw that the Lord was with him and made him prosper in all he did, Joseph found favor in his sight and became his personal attendant. Potiphar put him in charge of his household and entrusted him with everything he owned. From the time that he put Joseph in charge of his household and all that he owned, the Lord blessed the Egyptian's household on account of him. The Lord's blessing was on everything he owned, both in his house and in his field. So Potiphar left all that he owned in Joseph's care. He did not concern himself with anything except the food he ate. Now Joseph was well built and handsome. And after some time his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph and said, "Sleep with me." But he refused. "Look," he said to his master's wife, "with me here my master does not concern himself with anything in his house, and he has entrusted everything he owns to my care. No one in this house is greater than I am. He has withheld nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. So how could I do such a great evil and sin against God?" Although Potiphar's wife spoke to Joseph day after day, he refused to go to bed with her or even be near her. One day, however, Joseph went into the house to attend his work, and not a single household servant was inside. She grabbed Joseph by his cloak and said, "Sleep with me," but leaving his cloak in her hand, he escaped and ran outside. When she saw that he had left his cloak in her hand and had run out of the house, she called her household servants. "Look," she said, "this Hebrew has been brought to us to make sport of us. He came to me so he could sleep with me, but I screamed as loud as I could. When he heard me scream for help, he left his cloak beside me and ran out of the house." So Potiphar's wife kept Joseph's cloak beside her until his master came home. Then she told him the same story. "The Hebrew slave you brought us came to me to make sport of me, but when I screamed for help, he left his cloak beside me and ran out of the house." When his master heard the story, his wife told him, saying, "This is what your slave did to me." He burned with anger. So Joseph's master took him and had him thrown into the prison where the king's prisoners were confined. While Joseph was there in the prison, the Lord was with him and extended kindness to him, granting him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. And the warden put all the prisoners under Joseph's care, so that he was responsible for all that was done in the prison. The warden did not concern himself with anything under Joseph's care, because the Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in whatever he did. Genesis chapter 40. Sometime later, the king's cupbearer and baker offended their master, the king of Egypt. Pharaoh was angry with his two officers, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, and imprisoned them in the house of the captain of the guard, the same prison where Joseph was confined. The captain of the guard assigned them to Joseph, and he became their personal attendant. After they had been in custody for some time, both of these men, the Egyptian king's cupbearer and baker, who were being held in the prison, had a dream on the same night, and each dream had its own meaning. When Joseph came to them in the morning, he saw that they were distraught. So he asked the officials of Pharaoh who were in custody with him in his master's house, "Why are your faces so downcast today?" "We both had dreams," they replied, "but there is no one to interpret them." Then Joseph said to them, "Don't interpretations belong to God? Tell me your dreams." So the chief cupbearer told Joseph his dream. "In my dream, there was a vine before me, and on the vine were 3 branches. As it budded, its blossoms opened and its clusters ripened into grapes. Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes, squeezed them into his cup, and placed the cup in his hand." Joseph replied, "This is the interpretation. The 3 branches are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore your position. You will put Pharaoh's cup in his hand, just as you did when you were his cupbearer. But when it goes well for you, please remember me and show me kindness by mentioning me to Pharaoh, that he might bring me out of this prison. For I was kidnapped from the land of the Hebrews, and even here I have done nothing for which they should have put me in this dungeon." When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was favorable, he said to Joseph, "I too had a dream. There were 3 baskets of white bread on my head. In the top basket were all sorts of baked goods for Pharaoh, but the birds were eating them out of the basket on my head." Joseph replied, "This is the interpretation. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift off your head and hang you on a tree. Then the birds will eat the flesh of your body." On the 3rd day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, he held a feast for all his officials, and in their presence he lifted up the heads of the chief cupbearer and the chief baker. Pharaoh restored the chief cupbearer to his position, so that he once again placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. But Pharaoh hanged the chief baker, just as Joseph had described to them in his interpretation. The chief cupbearer, however, did not remember Joseph. He forgot all about him. Poor Joseph. All right, just got one more chapter, Matthew 11. I probably won't necessarily stay here for the sunset. I might have before when I was going to try to do 3 readings, but just everything kind of went south from there, so I'll probably head out when I finish this reading. Probably end the stream too, because after that annoying signal experience, I don't think I can stream the rest of the hike down. So this will be the last chapter for today, I think. I probably have time for another one, but I'd have to find another spot, and I don't really think I could do that in a short time. Matthew chapter 11. After Jesus had finished instructing his 12 disciples, he went on from there to teach and preach in their cities. Meanwhile, John heard in prison about the works of Christ, and he sent his disciples to ask him, "Are you the one who was to come, or should we look for someone else?" Jesus replied, "Go back and report to John what you hear and see. The blind receive sight, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the good news is preached to the poor. Blessed is the one who does not fall away on account of me." As John's disciples were leaving, Jesus began to speak to the crowds about John. "What did you go out into the wilderness to see? A reed swaying in the wind? Otherwise, what did you go out to see? A man dressed in fine clothes? Look, those who wear fine clothing are found in kings' palaces. What then did you go out to see? A prophet? Yes, I tell you, and more than a prophet. This is the one about whom it is written, 'Behold, I will send my messenger ahead of you, who will prepare your way before you.' Truly, I tell you, among those born of women there has risen no one greater than John the Baptist. Yet even the least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. From the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven has been subject to violence, and the violent lay claim to it. For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John. And if you are willing to accept it, he is the Elijah who was to come. He who has ears, let him hear. To what can I compare this generation? They are like children sitting in the marketplaces and calling out to others. We played the flute for you, and you did not dance. We sang a dirge, and you did not mourn. For John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say, he has a demon. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, look at this glutton and drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. But wisdom is vindicated by her actions. Then Jesus began to denounce the cities in which most of his miracles had been performed, because they did not repent. Woe to you, Chorazin! Woe to you, Bethsaida! For if the miracles that were performed in you had been performed in Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. But I tell you, it will be more bearable for Tyre and Sidon on the day of judgment than for you. And you, Capernaum, will you be lifted up to heaven? No, you will be brought down to Hades. For if the miracles that were performed in you had been performed in Sodom, it would have remained to this day. But I tell you that it will be more bearable for Sodom on the day of judgment than for you. At that time Jesus declared, I praise you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because you have hidden these things from the wise and learned and revealed them to little children. Yes, Father, for this was well pleasing in your sight. All things have been entrusted to me by my Father. No one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son, and those to whom the Son chooses to reveal him. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. All right, that's That's it for this reading. I'm going to check what the next one is, just out of curiosity. So that was the last reading in week number 5. I still haven't looked up the date that I started. I can't remember. Looks like it might be kind of a short one for the next reading, but probably could manage to do it. Let me just check. Oh, well, it's only 2 chapters in Genesis, but the first one is pretty long. It looks like it will be a nice sunset, though. It would be kind of cool to see that, but I don't know. We'll see. Let me check here what's going on. Sun is right behind that tree at the moment. I'll look around a little bit. If I can find another spot close by that has a better angle of where the sun's going down, I might hang out for a bit, just cause. Just because I've sort of been waiting for a sunset that has clouds. Like all the sunsets that I've captured recently on stream, there's been like 0 clouds, so it's not that interesting looking, but there's actually some clouds today. It might end up looking kind of cool. We'll see. Maybe I'll try it. Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I might have to redo this one. I have no idea, but we'll see. Kind of nice just to get a sunset in here. Can't see the signal. I think it's probably going to be fine. All right, so I'll try to do one more reading. I'm just going to stand up because trying to get my chair in a spot over here would be kind of problematic. So for the last reading, we got Genesis 41 to 42 and Matthew 12, 22 to 50. So I think it's kind of a short one. Genesis chapter 41. After 2 full years had passed, Pharaoh had a dream. He was standing beside the Nile when 7 cows, sleek and well-fed, came up from the river and began to graze among the reeds. After them, 7 other cows, silky and thin, came up from the Nile and stood beside the well-fed cows on the bank of the river. And the cows that were sickly and thin devoured the 7 sleek, well-fed cows. Then Pharaoh woke up, but he fell back asleep and dreamed a second time. 7 heads of grain, plump and ripe, came up on one stalk. After them, 7 other heads of grain sprouted, thin and scorched by the east wind. And the thin heads of grain swallowed up the 7 plump, ripe ones. Then Pharaoh awoke and realized it was a dream. In the morning his spirit was troubled, so he summoned all the magicians and wise men of Egypt. Pharaoh told them his dreams, but no one could interpret them for him. Then the chief cupbearer said to Pharaoh, "Today I recall my failures." Pharaoh was once angry with his servants, and he put me and the chief baker in the custody of the captain of the guard. One night both the chief baker and I had dreams, and each dream had its own meaning. Now a young Hebrew was there with us, a servant of the captain of the guard. We told him our dreams, and he interpreted them for us individually. And it happened to us just as he had interpreted. I was restored to my position, and the other man was hanged. So Pharaoh sent for Joseph, who was quickly brought out of the dungeon. After he had shaved and changed his clothes, he went in before Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I had a dream, and no one can interpret it, but I have heard it said of you that when you hear a dream, you can interpret it." "I myself cannot do it," Joseph replied, "but God will give Pharaoh a sound answer." Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "In my dream I was standing on the bank of the Nile, when 7 cows, well-fed and sleek, came up from the river and began to graze among the reeds. After them 7 other cows, sickly, ugly, and thin, came up. I have never seen such ugly cows in all the land of Egypt. Then the thin, ugly cows devoured the 7 well-fed cows that were there first. When they had devoured them, however, no one could tell that they had done so. Their appearance was as ugly as it had been before. Then I awoke. In my dream I also saw 7 heads of grain, plump and ripe, growing on a single stalk. After them 7 other heads of grain sprouted, withered, thin, and scorched by the east wind. And the thin heads of grain swallowed the 7 plump ones. I told this dream to the magicians, but no one could explain it to me." At this Joseph said to Pharaoh, "The dreams of Pharaoh are one and the same. God has revealed to Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the 7 ripe heads of grain are 7 years. The dreams have the same meaning. Moreover, the 7 thin, ugly cows that came up after them are 7 years, and so are the 7 worthless heads of grain scorched by the east wind. They are 7 years of famine. It is just as I said to Pharaoh. God has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. Behold, 7 years of great abundance are coming throughout the land of Egypt, but 7 years of famine will follow them. Then all the abundance in the land of Egypt will be forgotten, and the famine will devastate the land. The abundance in the land will not be remembered, since the famine that follows it will be so severe. Moreover, because the dream was given to Pharaoh in 2 versions, the matter has been decreed by God, and he will carry it out shortly. Now therefore Pharaoh should look for a discerning and wise man and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh take action and appoint commissioners over the land to take 1/5 of the harvest of Egypt during the 7 years of abundance. Under the authority of Pharaoh, let them collect all the excess food from these good years, that they may come and lay up the grain to be preserved as food in the cities. This food will be a reserve for the land during the 7 years of famine to come upon the land of Egypt. Then the country will not perish in the famine. This proposal pleased Pharaoh and all his officials. So Pharaoh asked them, "Can we find anyone like this man in whom the Spirit of God abides?" Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Since God has made all this known to you, there is no one as discerning and wise as you." I don't know why it's going so slow. I'll cut this and edit this. I don't like to have to edit them, but it's taking forever to change slides for some reason. Let me see. I'm starting at verse 40, I guess. I'm going to try something here. You shall be in charge of my house, and all my people are to obey your commands. Only with regard to the throne will I be greater than you. Pharaoh also told Joseph, I hereby place you over all the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh removed the signet ring from his finger, put it on Joseph's finger, clothed him in garments of fine linen, and placed a gold chain around his neck. He had Joseph ride in his second chariot with men calling out before him, Bow the knee! So he placed him over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh declared to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, but without your permission no one in all the land of Egypt shall lift his hand or foot. Pharaoh gave Joseph the name Zaphenath-Paneah, and he gave him Asenath, daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, to be his wife. And Joseph took charge of all the land of Egypt. Now Joseph was 30 years old when he entered the service of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph left Pharaoh's presence and traveled throughout the land of Egypt. During the 7 years of abundance, the land brought forth bountifully. During those 7 years, Joseph collected all the excess food in the land of Egypt and stored it in the cities. In every city he laid up the food from the fields around it. So Joseph stored up grain in such abundance, like the sand of the sea, that he stopped keeping track of it, for it was beyond measure. Before the years of famine arrived, 2 sons were born to Joseph by Asenath, daughter of Potiphera, priest of On. Joseph named the firstborn Manasseh, saying, God has made me forget all my hardship and all my father's household. And the second son he named Ephraim, saying, God has made me fruitful in the land of my affliction. When the 7 years of abundance in the land of Egypt came to an end, the 7 years of famine began, just as Joseph had said. And although there was famine in every country, there was food throughout the land of Egypt. When extreme hunger came to all the land of Egypt, and the people cried out to Pharaoh for food, he told the Egyptians, Go to Joseph and do whatever he tells you. When the famine had spread over all the land, Joseph opened up all the storehouses and sold grain to the Egyptians, for the famine was severe in the land of Egypt. And every nation came to Joseph in Egypt to buy grain, because the famine was severe over all the earth. I don't know why my phone isn't working very well, but I'll try to get through this. I'll have to chop that one up. I'll have to remember that I have to chop a section out of the middle there when I do my editing later. That was a long chapter. Genesis chapter 42. When Jacob learned that there was grain in Egypt, he said to his sons, "Why are you staring at one another? Look," he added, "I have heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy some for us, so that we may live and not die." So 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to buy grain from Egypt. But Jacob did not send Joseph's brother Benjamin with his brothers, for he said, "I am afraid that harm might befall him." So the sons of Israel were among those who came to buy grain, since the famine had also spread to the land of Canaan. Now Joseph was the ruler of the land. He was the one who sold grain to all its people. So when his brothers arrived, they bowed down before him with their faces to the ground. And when Joseph saw his brothers, he recognized them, but he treated them as strangers and spoke harshly to them. "Where have you come from?" he asked. "From the land of Canaan," they replied. "We are here to buy food." Although Joseph recognized his brothers, they did not recognize him. Joseph remembered his dreams about them and said, "You are spies. You have come to see if our land is vulnerable." "Not so, my lord," they replied. "Your servants have come to buy food. We are all sons of one man. Your servants are honest men, not spies." "No," he told them, "you have come to see if our land is vulnerable." But they answered, "Your servants are 12 brothers, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. The youngest is now with our father, and one is no more." Then Joseph declared, "Just as I said, you are spies, and this is how you will be tested. As surely as Pharaoh lives, you shall not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here." "Send one of your number to get your brother. The rest of you will be confined, so that the truth of your words may be tested. If they are untrue, then as surely as Pharaoh lives, you are spies." So Joseph imprisoned them for 3 days, and on the 3rd day he said to them, "I fear God, so do this and you will live." "If you are honest, leave one of your brothers in custody, while the rest of you go and take back grain to relieve the hunger of your households. Then bring your youngest brother to me, so that your words can be verified, that you may not die." And to this they consented. Then they said to one another, "Surely we are being punished because of our brother. We saw his anguish when he pleaded with us, but we would not listen. That is why this distress has come upon us." And Reuben responded, "Didn't I tell you not to sin against the boy? But you would not listen. Now we must account for his blood." They did not realize that Joseph understood them, since there was an interpreter between them. And he turned away from them and wept. When he turned back and spoke to them, he took Simeon from them and had him bound before their eyes. Then Joseph gave orders to fill their bags with grain, to return each man's silver to his sack, and to give them provisions for their journey. This order was carried out, and they loaded the grain on their donkeys and departed. At the place where they lodged for the night, one of them opened his sack to get feed for his donkey, and he saw his silver in the mouth of the sack. "My silver has been returned," he said to his brother. "It is here in my sack." Their hearts sank, and trembling, they turned to one another and said, "What is this that God has done to us?" When they reached their father Jacob in the land of Canaan, they described to him all that had happened to them. The man who is Lord of the land spoke harshly to us and accused us of spying on the country. But we told him, "We are honest men, not spies. We are 12 brothers, sons of one father. One is no more, and the youngest is now with our father in the land of Canaan." Then the man who is Lord of the land said to us, "This is how I will know whether you are honest. Leave one brother with me, take food to relieve the hunger of your households, and go. But bring your youngest brother back to me, so I will know that you are not spies, but honest men. Then I will give your brother back to you, and you can trade in the land." As they began emptying their sacks, there in each man's sack was his bag of silver. And when they and their father saw the bags of silver, they were dismayed. Their father Jacob said to them, "You have deprived me of my sons. Joseph is gone, and Simeon is no more. Now you want to take Benjamin. Everything is going against me." Then Reuben said to his father, "You may kill my 2 sons if I fail to bring him back to you. Put him in my care, and I will return him." But Jacob replied, "My son will not go down there with you, for his brother is dead, and he alone is left. If any harm comes to him on your journey, you will bring my gray hair down to Sheol in sorrow." Oh man, my back is terrible. I can't stand in one place like this for so long. I just got one more chapter. I can make it. I'm curious what the lighting looks like on the camera. I guess it's fine. I wish the live streaming app had access to like all the HDR kind of logic, because I think it could potentially look better if it did. If I shot it with my normal camera app, it would look better, but oh well. Matthew chapter 12, starting in verse 22. Then a demon-possessed man who was blind and mute was brought to Jesus, and he healed the man so that he could speak and see. The crowds were astounded and asked, "Could this be the son of David?" But when the Pharisees heard this, they said, "Only by Beelzebul, the prince of demons, does this man drive out demons." Knowing their thoughts, Jesus said to them, "Every kingdom divided against itself will be laid waste, and every city or household divided against itself will not stand. If Satan drives out Satan, he is divided against himself. How then can his kingdom stand? And if I drive out demons by Beelzebul, by whom do your sons drive them out? So then, they will be your judges. But if I drive out demons by the Spirit of God, then the kingdom of God has come upon you. Or again, how can anyone enter a strong man's house and steal his possessions, unless he first ties up the strong man? Then he can plunder his house. He who is not with me is against me, and he who does not gather with me scatters. Therefore I tell you, every sin and blasphemy will be forgiven men, but the blasphemy against the Spirit will not be forgiven. Whoever speaks a word against the Son of Man will be forgiven, but whoever speaks against the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven, either in this age or in the one to come. Make a tree good, and its fruit will be good, or make a tree bad, and its fruit will be bad, for a tree is known by its fruit. You brood of vipers, how can you who are evil say anything good? For out of the overflow of the heart the mouth speaks. The good man brings good things out of his good store of treasure, and the evil man brings evil things out of his evil store of treasure. But I tell you that men will give an account on the day of judgment for every careless word they have spoken. For by your words you will be acquitted, and by your words you will be condemned. Then some of the scribes and Pharisees said to him, Teacher, we want to see a sign from you. Jesus replied, A wicked and adulterous generation demands a sign, but none will be given it except the sign of the prophet Jonah. For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the great fish, so the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. The men of Nineveh will stand at the judgment with this generation and condemn it, for they repented at the preaching of Jonah, and now one greater than Jonah is here. The queen of the south will rise at the judgment with this generation and condemn it, for she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon, and now one greater than Solomon is here. I have to reread this one. I don't know what's going on with my phone, but it's not working. When an unclean spirit comes out of a man, it passes through arid places, seeking rest, and does not find it. Then it says, I will return to the house I left. On its return, it finds the house vacant, swept clean, and put in order. Then it goes and brings with it 7 other spirits more wicked than itself, and they go in and dwell there, and the final plight of that man is worse than the first. So will it be with this wicked generation. While Jesus was still speaking to the crowds, his mother and brothers stood outside, wanting to speak to him. Someone told him, Look, your mother and brothers are standing outside, wanting to speak to you. But Jesus replied, Who is my mother, and who are my brothers? Pointing to his disciples, he said, Here are my mother and my brothers. For whoever does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother and sister and mother. probably try to salvage that recording, even though it's kind of it was weird. I don't know what was going on there, but hopefully I can make it work. It would be pretty cool if I had an actual good camera I could somehow use for live streaming. Like, phones, like, not terrible, but I don't know, it's kind of, you can tell it's a phone, just the quality and the colors are kind of weird and whatever, it's just not ideal. Works okay for normal stuff, but sunsets, it just like, looks bad. Okay, I'm just packing up. Pretty nice colors. It's one of those times I sort of wish I brought my better camera. I think if I stay for a while, it's just going to keep getting more colorful because I'm not even sure the sun's really down yet. It's behind that mountain over there, but it's probably not quite down to the horizon yet behind that mountain. Wow, clouds behind look pretty cool too. It's so weird how that happens, just the sun somehow gets way back on the other side of the horizon. It's kind of mysterious. I don't really understand how that works. Let me see. That's how it looks when I don't do a exposure lock. It looks like garbage because the phone is just changing the exposure to what it thinks should be, and it's always terrible. Always. Actually, every camera that's ever been made, I can say this with 100% confidence, and it's fully accurate. Every camera ever made overexposes light, highlights every single one. So if you don't set the exposure manually, it will always look like trash on sunsets. You'd think they'd have that figured out by now, but nope. Actually, nothing has changed in the last 50 years of photography. Nothing. Not a thing. As far as like light meters and how they work, and gadgets and stuff. Same problems. I did not do that. Oops. Oh, it's so bad. It looks so terrible. Ugh. Alright, let me somehow try to get my tripod put away, and then I can adjust that just for a few minutes just to get the colors and junk. Kind of amazing that all this tech, all this fancy stuff that we think we can do, we still can't even get close to matching the HDR number of stops that the human eye can achieve. It's not even close. It looks so bad on this camera compared to what my eyes see. It's a joke. Try to get my little tripod stick thing so I can set this down while I'm putting my big tripod away. Or I'll be here for hours. It's impossible to hold this while I'm doing that. Wow. Yeah, it's weird. The clouds like above, I think this is 100% of the time. It's definitely a general rule. The clouds directly above you usually have zero light on them. But the horizon all the way around, especially right behind the sun, even though the sun can't reach those clouds really, I don't know, it's amazing to me how that works. It's just weird how sunsets, I don't understand what the light is doing to make those various scenarios happen. But not complaining, looks cool, that's for sure. Alright, oh, I should check oh good. I had not checked my microphone to see if it was still going. It is, apparently. Yeah, has been, and will continue to be a pretty nice sunset day, like the best. It's really nice. Not seeing any purpley stuff, but definitely got the salmon color and pinks, all that normal stuff. It's pretty epic up here. I wish I could get like a 360 video of every direction, because it's not just one direction that looks good, it's like every direction. Alright, so there's the sunset direction, which it's not yellow, it never is. There's never been a sunset in the history of the world that had any actual true yellow, like RGB, red plus green, 100% yellow on the spectrum. It's never happened in history, but every single sunset on stupid phones looks yellow. It's really annoying. But maybe only I notice those things. Anyway, back here looks just as cool, if not cooler. This is the back side of the opposite side of the sun, which is pretty awesome. And the only reason I can even make it look halfway decent is because thankfully IRL Pro has a exposure, focus, and white balance lock, so I can lock that, but it doesn't have manual adjustments, unfortunately. I don't think. Well, maybe it does, but I don't think it has an exposure adjustment. You just have to like click on something in the screen to get it to adjust, which is kind of lame. I should try to get I'm gonna attempt to get a panorama with my second phone. I wish I could do it with this one, but it's occupied with streaming. Yeah, I'm glad I stayed up to see this instead of leaving a little bit early. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's just getting better and better. It would be interesting to see how well the latest Insta360 X5 that I think does with this kind of color grading, or just, I bet it would be probably do at least as well as my phone. My phone is just not very good. And then you could get like the entire sphere in 8K, which would be awesome. That would be sick. That's kind of why, one of the reasons I want to get it, because I can't stand having to do all this like panning around, rotating all the time. Just gets kind of lame. With that, you can just take one video or photo and just get the whole thing in one shot. It's awesome. Plus, it takes 72 megapixel still shots, which I've never really seen samples of those. I don't know how good they are, but you know, it's decent resolution anyway. So you could capture even some of the finer details. It looks so much better in real life though. I'm like looking at my screen and going, blah. I mean, it looks okay, but it's so much better. And the colors are way more interesting in real life. No comparison. I'm afraid to leave because I think it could just like suddenly just keep getting better. Eventually it kind of reaches its peak and then it starts fading. It's like this backside is not quite as colorful as it was before. Oh, looks pretty awesome though. I should try just to like, I'm gonna do a slow panorama with this gimbal, and just when I get home maybe I can extract frames and pull out like a photo panorama out of it. It won't be very good quality, but I don't have any other way to do it. It's actually not that dark back here. It looks pretty like epic, but since I have the exposure locked for the sun, so it's not overexposed, it makes it way darker back here than it actually is. But you gotta choose one or the other. Let me try one other thing here. Okay, we'll try that. So just for reference, this is, instead of exposure lock, it's just auto, but it has like a exposure compensation of like -2 or something, which is, on sunsets you gotta go at least -2. Full stops on every camera ever made because they overcompensate so much. Wow. Okay, it's getting it's getting even more colorful over here somehow. Didn't think that was really possible, but all right, let me try one more slow panorama to see if I can get the whole thing. Yep, pretty awesome. I should remember that little trick, because I think that it looks a little bit better with the auto exposure, but exposure compensation negative something or other. Sometimes forget I can do that. Oh, the color is unbelievable. Let me try one more time to get a photo with my second phone. Okay, I guess that's as good as I can do, unfortunately. Alright, I'm just going to hang out here for a while until kind of settles down, just so I can appreciate. There's no reason to leave at this point. At some point I won't be able to see very well on my way back down, so I probably won't stay like until it's completely dark. But hey, Jay's own. Yeah, it was a pretty epic sunset. I've been waiting for one of these for quite a while because there's been no clouds lately. There was quite a few storm clouds that passed over today, and so I figured there might be a bigger chance of having some leftovers. Thanks for the follow. I'm not going to stay out here much longer though. I just want to capture the moment and I'll be on my way. It's crazy how it's actually way more vivid and colorful in real life. Like I'm looking at, oh my goodness, it's so different. It's weird. There shouldn't be any yellow at the bottom. It should be like blue and blue sky. Let's see if I can fix it. Nope. Even if I do that, it doesn't work. I just can't get it to look right. Alright, I think I'll end the stream and head back down before it gets so dark they can't see where I'm going. I do have a flashlight, but it's just easier to walk with a little bit of light. So I'm gonna head out. Thanks for anybody that was lurking or joining me earlier. I've been trying to read through the Bible this year, so I've been doing the Bible outdoors, and eventually I'm going to post all those split up chapters on my second channel, which is WordHike on YouTube, Rumble, and Odyssey. I mentioned I was going to say something about BitChute. The problem is you can't have multiple channels on BitChute, so I can't set up a separate channel for that. I'd have to like create a whole new account, so I haven't decided if I'm going to do that yet. But anyway, definitely on YouTube, Rumble, and Odyssey, I'll have those uploads. Way behind, and YouTube has a massive limit on how many you can upload in one day, so I have to do it slowly over time. I made some cool tools over the last couple days to help me process the videos a little bit more automated. But anyway, I'm gonna head out. Thanks for joining me. I'll catch y'all next time. Oh, yeah, there's that bird. I don't know if I could get it on the frame. It's just moving around too much. Anyway. Later.